Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 10 Shed Shenanigans. If you notice, I'm not holding the camera. And if you look at the most recent posts that I've made on my Instagram and the channel, my tripod came in. So now I can actually bring y'all along a little bit better when I work on stuff. Alright. Anyway, now that we got that out of the way. This is a 2009 Honda Accord with a V6 in it. It's my sister-in-law's car. And her variable valve timing solenoid is leaking. So I'm going to show you, it's a very quick repair. I'm going to show you how to do that and torque and everything, what tools and parts you'll need. So let's get right to it. Alright, so if you look right here by the dipstick, this is the variable valve timing solenoid and gasket assembly. There's 3 bolts that hold it in. I'm going to show you the parts and the basic tools you'll need. So parts, you can get these from AutoZone, O'Reilly's, or order them from Rock Auto. That is the cheapest option. It is a 918056GS. It is the VTEC gasket, and it says VTEC gasket, but it comes with 2 rubber molded gaskets, the separator plate, and 3 brand new bolts. So that's all what comes in the kit. And the only tools you'll need is a 10mm on a 1/4 inch drive or 3/8 drive, doesn't matter. And you will need a torque wrench that is in inch-pounds, because those only torque to 6 foot-pounds, which is 72 inch-pounds. So it's not a whole lot of torque, but it is a little bit. I'm going to start this thing so that way you guys can see how bad it's leaking. I'm going to zoom in. If I can, there it goes. Yeah, right there by the dipstick is where it's leaking worse. So I'm going to fire it up. So sometimes you won't see it leak. Sometimes you won't see it leak. These are normally a more cold leak than anything. So what that means is when the engine's cold, that's when it's going to leak the worst. So right now we're just going to get everything unplugged so I can get to it, get it cleaned up, get the new gaskets in. You'll start by getting these 2 connectors undone. There's also a vacuum line, or a PCV line that's collapsed. I'll have to tell her that. Get these 2 connectors undone, and then undo these 2 clips that hold this part of the harness to the valve cover. And then you'll unplug your coil packs so you have a little more give. There you go. Now you can take these 2 bolts out, and then you'll take the 3 out that hold that in. Zoom y'all in so that way y'all can see a little bit better. There we go. A little bit better. Like I said, 1/4 inch. You'll pop these 2 tins out of the way. Remember to always keep your 10mm where you can easily find it, because I think these things have legs, and when you set them down somewhere, they just run away. That's all it is. Okay. These 2 bolts are out there. And then it's this top bolt and these 2 ones on the bottom. The other bolt right here, the 4th bolt, that is just holding this solenoid in. It does not need to come out when you're doing this repair. The new gasket kit came with new bolts. So you'll just set these to the side, so that way they don't fall in anywhere and you don't lose them. And that way you're not mixing them up. Because if it comes with new bolts, it is best to use the new bolts, just because these have been getting hot and cold and hot and cold, and you don't want to break a bolt off. So, and some oil is going to come out. Yes, that's fine. That's normal. But this is one of the rubber molded gaskets. Grab a rag. Put that there. And remember, I may have to get a screwdriver, but there is a little metal plate. I don't have to go get a screwdriver, I have one of my keys. Okay, yep. And there's the other molded gasket. It's not supposed to be stuck to that, by the way. All right, so we'll get some more rags. I'm gonna clean everything up in here. And when you are fixing an oil leak on anything, always make sure that you try to clean it out the best you can, so that way you can see if you've got a new one, or if the old one is gone, or if it's still leaking. That is the most important part, is to always make sure that it's clean, so that way you can, double check yourself. And we're gonna make sure that we get the right gaskets in the correct places. There's one with a screen, that one goes in first. It'll go green. Yeah. Screen goes in like that. And they'll just fall right into place. And then you'll take this. If you notice, 2 of the holes are larger. You'll notice 2 of the holes are larger. This bottom one right here and this top one. There's little keepers that help you line everything up. One stays in the block, one stays on the valve. Make sure you put that back the way it goes. So, big hole to the keeper. And then on the actual valve itself, clean that off. Let's see if y'all can see that. That's supposed to be a raised gasket. It is sitting flush with this housing. So it was not doing a whole lot, because, these O-ring seals keep everything sealed. They're supposed to. And if it's flush with the housing and the gasket is rock hard, like this, it just broke in my hand. If it's rock hard, it's not doing a whole lot of sealing. So, it also tends to happen when a vehicle sits for a long time, is any rubber gaskets get very, very hard, very brittle. And that's why, if you ever get an older vehicle that's been sitting, 10, 15, 20 years in the woods, or even parked somewhere, and you start it after it has not been running for all that time, you will have several fluid leaks while it's cold and while it's getting idling, because those gaskets are brittle and they're dry and things like that. And like this one being a cold leak, where it leaks worse when it's cold. It'll still leak when it's warm, but at least worse when it's cold. Make sure it's all nice and clean. See, and that's the little keeper I was talking about. One there, that one lines up there. So you'll get that set in there. Take our new bolts. The longest one goes in that hole, and your two that are the same length go in this hole. And these, move them out of the way so I can find my tools. I'm cutting it a little close today with sunlight, but what you'll do is you'll, just like tightening, you know, lug nuts or anything, you'll go in a triangle pattern as to make sure everything gets seated nice and proper. And this is not where we're going to torque them. We're not going to use the ratchet to torque them, we're going to use the torque wrench. When you start getting into control valves and things like that that need oil pressure to make things operate, especially with variable valve timing, you want to make sure that you torque everything correctly and you have the proper oil in it, because it will actually cause it to not run correctly. If there's not enough oil pressure in it, it cannot open those solenoids and those valves. So, but per Honda specs, this torques to 6 foot-pounds, which translates to 72 inch-pounds. If you've been working on things for long enough that you know what 72 inch-pounds feels like, you know, you have that confidence, by all means, go for it. If you don't, use a torque wrench. This is I use gear wrench, the 120 XP fine tooth. This is the 1/4 inch drive one. It does inch-pounds, but any torque wrench will work. If you want to go to Harbor Freight and buy you a cheaper torque wrench, if you're not going to be doing stuff like this all the time, that's perfect. Yeah, well, we got it in. I'm going to get everything plugged back up, buttoned back up, and wash off the motor, and we'll make sure she doesn't have any leaks. Thank you for watching. You know, I got it all washed off. It's not leaking anymore. Really, that's the only thing you're looking for after you get that done, is just, you know, make sure it's not leaking. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss another video, and stay tuned. We may have a little bit of change in the quality of the videos. It may be good, maybe bad, I'm not sure. I haven't really used this camera a whole lot. Now that we have a tripod, we're going to start using the camera and filming. I have some mics, that way no matter how far away I am, I'll still be talking into a microphone. But yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. This has been another episode of Tin Shed Shenanigans.